This is the 28th day of January 2014 and you're watching KTN Newsdesk. My name is Bonnie Tunya and this is where news is brought to you as it happens. We open this bulletin with matters of the now controversial standard gauge railway, and President Uhuru Kenyatta is currently holding a meeting at State House Nairobi with all cabinet ministers to discuss the way forward over the controversial standard gauge railway project. The president will later this afternoon address the nation from State House. The meeting comes hot on the heels after lawmakers allied to the Jubilee government, led by Leader of Majority in the National Assembly Aden Duale and Senate's Majority Leader Kithure Kindiki, issued a 7-day ultimatum to President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto to name members of a shadowy corruption cartel that was attempting to frustrate the project. Two committees of the National Assembly, the Public Investments Committee and the Transport and Infrastructure Committee, are investigating the multi-billion shilling project following controversy over the tendering process. Now, two cabinet secretaries have differed over the cost of the project while giving evidence before the parliamentary committees. Officials from the China Road and Bridge Corporation are expected to appear before the National Assembly's Public Investment Committee later on today. And KTN is staying on top of that story. As and when the president will address the nation, we'll be able to bring that to you. Moving on, a latest institution of higher learning ranking puts Cairo University of Egypt as the most popular university across the African continent. The 2014 rankings, released by the 4 international colleges and universities website, also placed the University of Cape Town and the University of Pretoria, both in South Africa, in 2nd and 3rd place. The remaining 7 slots in the top 10 is split between South Africa and Egypt universities. In Kenya, the University of Nairobi tops the list of the most popular universities, followed by Moi University, and in 3rd place is Strathmore. Kenyatta University is in 4th place and USIU in 5th. The latest rankings show a steady rise in the popularity of private universities across Kenya, with Strathmore, USIU and Catholic universities making it to the top 10. However, the popularity of these mentioned universities is not comparable to their academic rankings. Away from universities, let's go to Murang'a County, and residents of Kigumo in Murang'a County are demanding transfers of top police bosses in their county over what they term as failure to deal with illicit brew traders in the area. They also want local administration questioned over the continued deaths of young men from consumption of the illicit brew.
From one homestead to another, fresh graves can be spotted. Graves of young men residents of Kinyonga in Kigumo say succumbed to illicit brew. This was the burial of the latest victim, a father of 5 in Boro village in Kigumo. It is at this burial that residents expressed their concerns over the escalating numbers of deaths from illicit brew consumption. It is reported that at least 10 men have died in the last 4 months after consuming illicit liquor.
Katizo kukuja padi ya kwetu. Si ati hapa inapikiwa. Hiyo haramu inakujaga kutoka kule enini. Sijui Nairobi na Vika, Mnaivasha.
Kawacho na jukumu ya kulelea watoto wangu.
Residents blame the local administration and the police for laxity and now want immediate transfer of top police bosses in Kigumo, whom they accuse of collaborating with brewers and liquor traders.
Na watu wanauza pombe haramu, hakuna kitu wanatusaidia kwa sababu wanahongo.
Muda uliowekwa wa chochote kiko ndani kutumika, muda umepita, zingine muda hujapita. Stika za KRA zingine zimeraruka, zingine zinaonekana ni kama za kuwekelewa, sio halali. Na hii yote tutachunguza ili tuhakikishe kila kitu ni sawa au si sawa.
Last week, Kigumo police confiscated assorted second-generation liquor destined for distribution by a prominent trader. However, the trader was later released without being charged. Although families say the deceased died from illicit brew consumption, Kigumo OCPD John Katumo was not quick to confirm this, saying samples of the said brews will be taken to the government chemist for analysis and subsequently prosecution of the said distributor if found guilty. Angel Katusia, KTN.
A former police reservist was shot dead this morning in Malindi. Ahmed Abdallah Bahaswain met his death in his car about 150 meters from Malindi police station. According to eyewitnesses, 3 middle-aged youths in a motorbike are said to have stopped and shot him thrice before fleeing. A guard who witnessed the incident said the deceased had just stopped by a shop when 2 of the 3 young men alighted from the motorbike and approached the car. He said one of them brandished a pistol and shot him thrice. Malindi District Criminal Investigation Officer John Ndongu, who visited the scene, confirmed the incident. Bahaswain was shot in the head, chest and the ribs. Police said nothing was stolen from him, and investigations have been launched to establish the reason behind the killing. Observers suggest that he might have been killed by members of a terror group on suspicion that he has been given intelligence reports to law enforcers about that particular group. Military operation in Baragoi has been called off until further notice. Kenya Defense Forces soldiers arrived in Baragoi on Sunday, but they are waiting for further instructions after this disarmament operation was halted. Samburu leaders have expressed disappointment concerning the new development, accusing Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of Government Joseph Olelenku of failing to intensify security operations in Baragoi. The presence of military soldiers in the area is said to have forced some residents of Baragoi to flee to other areas in fear of the use of excessive force by the officers.
We want, as a matter of urgency, the government should now arm the KPR to take care of themselves, because the government has failed. Because we've also been requesting for establishment of more security posts in some of these security corridors with no success. So we want to ask the government today, do you want the Samburu people to take security on their own hands, or what do we do?
Ile imetuchangaza kuambiwa wanarudi leo, walikuwa wamepewa wiki moja, wiki mbili na wanarudi. Sasa tunataka kuuliza, walikuwa wamekuja kufanya nini? Ni kama kutumia mafuta ya serikali vile gavana alisema, kutumia resources ya serikali na kurudi. Hii operation imesainiwa mara, nafikiri hata tangu Kibaki, mara 4.
The German ambassador to Kenya, Andreas Peschke, has pledged his country's technical assistance to Kenya, especially in the field of health, agriculture and access to water. He said this when he paid a courtesy call to the Standard Group Center, where he held talks with Sam Sholei, the CEO. He said his government's agenda was to strengthen the relationship between Germany and Kenya.
Our next step is also to attract even more German business to Kenya. I know that there's a lot of interest on the part of German business. So together with our delegation of German industry and commerce, which is active in Nairobi, we are looking at organizing a big Kenyan, German or East African German business forum in the first half of this year, that shall take place here in Nairobi, with high-ranking guests from Germany and hopefully also high-ranking representatives from the Kenyan side, to see how we can take relations, in particular business relations, between our two countries forward.
Police in Voi district of Taita Taveta County are investigating an incident where 4 men were found lying dead in a bush 50 meters from the Mombasa-Nairobi highway. According to the Voi OCPD, Justin Nzivo, police went to the scene following a tip-off from 2 herdsmen who had spotted the bodies in a bush at the Ndi location. The bodies of the men were all shaved and dumped together with injuries on their necks. However, no signs of struggling was seen at the scene and nothing was found and in their pockets. Only one victim was left with a wristwatch. Police suspected that the murder might have been committed elsewhere. At the scene where the signs of vehicle tires were, which police suspect could be of the vehicle that was used to carry the bodies before they were dumped at the bush. The bodies were taken to the Moi District Hospital awaiting a post-mortem.
Kuna chunga soka tuna crossi watu wamelala hapo. Kashangaa nikauliza mwenzangu hapa, watu wamelala pale kwa jua bwana, sasa sijui kwa hai au mkubwa. Naye kaja kaangalia akathibitisha kwamba hawapo hai.
Kwa sisi tumepata Wakenya 4 ambao wameuawa, lakini hawana document yoyote ya kuonyesha kwamba ni so. So ile kitu iko tumechukua picha, wamepigwa. Uchunguzi zaidi itafanywa tujue ni nani alifanya hiyo kitendo ama ni kwa nini wameuawa na nani amewaua.
A nominee for chief officer in Baringo County shocked the county parliamentary vetting panel when he told the panel that the disease he suffers from is only for people who are genius. Dr. Gideon Toromo, who was in 2010, was reported to have shot and killed a teacher with a poisonous arrow and later declared by a psychiatrist as mentally unsound, was being vetted for the position of Chief Officer of Health Services during a vetting process for applications of county chief officers. The panelists who wanted to know from the nominee about his state of mind, given that a report by a psychiatrist in April of 13th of 2010 had indicated that he suffered from psychiatric disorder, which he denied and said he suffered from bipolar disorder type 1. But the same psychiatrist in 2011 declared Toromo as healed and fit. The case was, however, terminated in 2013 after the family of the deceased teacher agreed to an out-of-court settlement.
Honorable Tweet and the chair of this committee. In place.
It's about integrity. Have you been charged before any court of law in this country? And if yes, what did you do?
Yes. I was involved on 31st March 2010. When I was sick, I had not slept for about 2 months. So when the police wanted to arrest me, and I want the press to get it very clearly, I was not intending to kill anybody. So initially I thought maybe they wanted to kill me, their policemen. So I just got my arrows, I followed the policemen, they entered into a club, show back, and one of them told me stupid, so I shoot around, and I didn't even know the man, so I shot 4 people, 1 died. It became a murder case. I was diagnosed with a condition called bipolar disorder, which is a bipolar disorder type 1. You get it sometimes when you don't sleep. And it is not schizophrenia, the way they were talking about in the papers. So I was admitted in. For 2 months on treatment, I realized I had actually killed somebody without knowing. I didn't know that person, and I was sorry. I thought I was already maybe mad.
Next, we stop in Nyeri County, and parents of children living with disabilities held a peaceful demonstration outside the PCEA Madhadi Primary School protesting the transfer of a special needs teacher, leaving many students without a qualified tutor since the beginning of the year. The chairman of the Ishuga Challenged Clientele ICC, an advocacy group for the disabled in Madhira constituency, demanded the transfer of the area educational assessment and resource center officer, citing dwindling educational standards for children with special needs. 2 special units have been closed, forcing children with special needs to join regular classes.
So watoto wamenyimwa mwalimu mwenye alikuwa na wao, amepigwa transfer bila kufanyiwa replacement. Watoto wamekaa kwa shule kwa wiki 3 tangu muhula uanze bila mwalimu, na kulingana na hali yao wanafaa kuwa na mwalimu ili mwenye amesomea mambo ya ya special needs education ili aweze kuwapatia huduma yenye inafaa.
Elsewhere, it is now emerging that the perennial human-wildlife conflict in Taita Taveta County has made it difficult for any productive crop farming to take place in the area. However, residents are advised to venture into alternative crops that are not affected by climate change and at the same time do not attract wildlife. Watermelon farming has proved productive and rewarding as a crop that does not attract the surrounding wild ecosystem, hence making it easy for the farmer to realize maximum profits as opposed to maize farming. This has been evident in one farmer from Ngolia location in Voi, whose pioneer venture into the crop has seen him appreciate farming for the last 6 years without encountering disturbance from animals from Savo National Park. Having started with only 2 acres of land, the farmer now boasts of a bumper harvest of 400 tons per day of watermelon from his current 200 acres. He also ventures into tomatoes and passion fruit farming. Let's cross borders now for an update with our neighbors in Sudan. And in just 1 month, more than 89,000 people, mostly women and children, have been forced to flee from South Sudan following the volatility of their country and taking refuge in neighboring Kenya, Ethiopia and Uganda. About 10,000 refugees have since fled to Kenya, most arriving tired, hungry and dehydrated. Others having sold their few personal belongings they were carrying in order to pay for transport. Uganda on its part is hosting 46,000 South Sudanese refugees. However, living conditions are harsh in the refugee camps, and Doctors Without Borders report cases of malaria, measles and respiratory tract infections which they are treating at the camps. The organization has set up water and sanitation facilities and is running outpatient and inpatient services to boost living conditions of the refugees.
Some of us has died, and some we didn't know whether they died or they are alive.
We came here on Tuesday, where we started screening patients, trying to find those ones who are sick, and sending them where we are providing treatment to them.
Agricultural extension officers in Nyeri have been warned to shape up or sheep out. The county government says the many have not been carrying out their mandate of educating farmers on the best agricultural practices as they are supposed to. During a meeting of more than 2,000 farmers drawn from the 6 sub-counties, horticulture farmers were advised to merge and form groups which will be responsible for value addition and marketing of their products. The county government has set aside more than 200 acres of land at the Naromoru in Nyeri for the construction of an export processing zone.
We would want it quickly as a county government to be able to bring in our officers there to address that issue and give the proper advice so that that matter is rectified. We are going to do demand-driven extension service so that we address particular issues that you have as farmers. We are going to register each and every farmer so that you as an extension officer, when you visit a particular farm, that farmer signs for you that you have been there and have done this. That way, at the end of the month, when we are calculating your salary and pay, we are able to see whether we are going to pay you or not.
Just a quick reminder that there is currently ongoing a cabinet sitting regarding the controversial standard gauge railway tender, and we're expecting the president to address the nation at exactly 2 p.m. KTN will be on top of that as and when it happens, but you can also get those details on our official website, that is standardmedia.co.ke. Let's take a short break. More news coming up.